What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Line of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the DeAgostini Millennium Falcon from Fanhome, and with stages 54 and 55. Now, last time we kind of resumed the build, and we'll talk a little bit more about what we're going to do in the next episode because I do kind of want to finish up a little bit of some of the work that has been done on the lower part of the model, specifically regarding paint and decals and all of that. But we'll talk about that here at the end of the episode. Now, last time we went ahead and completed stages 52 and 53, which kind of, I would say, composes most of pack number, I believe it's 12 or 13, somewhere in that neighborhood. 56 is going to be the last of the 5 stages in that pack, and we will address that, like I said, in the next episode. So today in 54 and 55, we're going to continue on with our work with getting our whole frames assembled for the top half of the model, along with collecting some of our whole panels themselves. And we're going to continue work on completing our assembly jig, as we will need this for this portion of the build, as the frame is now starting to get a little bit big, and I'm going to need to move the camera up again because it's, tight and focused right now, but man, this model is going to get very big very fast again, and all of that little excitement that I had with not having to worry about big pieces of model are quickly going away. We will have to think about where I'm going to build this going forward. It fits on the desk for the most part, but anyway, let's go ahead and get on to stage 54, which is going to be kind of a cool one because we're going to be assembling a couple frame sections and getting the main power put into place. Let's go ahead and head on to stage 54. All right, so here's stage 54. Now, I will say I have already opened this once, and I did so because there were parts of sprues that have fallen off, and I was kind of curious about it. Yeah, I don't know where that one went. We'll see. All right, so here is our looks like the strap for the battery box cover. We have some of our screws and 2-hole connectors. Looks like a pad for the assembly jig here, I think, possibly. Let's go ahead and get this open the rest of the way. We have our assembly jig. Set that off to the side. This is the external battery box cover. We have a whole plate section with some holes in it already. Very interesting. I wonder if it's going to be greeblies put over the top of that. A couple of larger frame sections. Oh, there it is. And our missing piece of the sprue. So the sprue is going to get set aside, and we're going to be basically holding on to that until the very end of the build. At stage 100 is going to be just putting a ton of sprues on. And I say the end of the build, like once we're done with all the stages of the model, I imagine that we'll be continuing to build on it for a couple of months as we work through the weathering and all of that. So this build is going to go on for a little while. I wonder how many episodes we're going to get. We're at episode number 40 right now, which is kind of crazy. So I wonder how many episodes we're going to get out of this series, as we're halfway through basically now. So it could be 100 episodes. I didn't really think that I would. That's kind of crazy to think about. I'm sure the Enterprise will get there too because it's a little bit bigger of a build. So anyway, now that we're done pontificating, let me go ahead and get our magazine open. And something I guess I'll start doing here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the magazine. I've been kind of looking at exploring, like I sometimes forget, like most of the time I forget to put in trivia. I say I want to do it, and I remember as soon as the video is rendering and getting ready to go, and I'm like, I just really don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to go ahead and start showing the magazines. So this is going to be stage 54. And if you guys are interested in reading what you guys see on screen, I would recommend going ahead and just go ahead and give a pause on the video real quick. Talking about sensors, they try to science up the Falcon a little bit, which is cute. Thank you, Star Wars. Talks about our parts and our instructions. This is the only model right now that I'm building, a partwork model that I'm not following along with Todd on over at mypartworks.com. yeah, I this is the one build. So anyway, I have to use the magazines just like the rest of us. And then here in the very back is talking about assembling the battery holder. We will talk a little bit about power in a couple different options. I'll kind of throw it out to the community to see what you guys think about my idea for power. So, all right, now that we've seen the magazine, let's go ahead and open up to our instructions. And first things first, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab our assembly jig. All right, there we are. And this one is going to go here at the end, and I am going to write 54 on the top just in case there are any issues. So this is going to be number 54, as you can see there. And let's go ahead and get this plugged into place, and I just kind of find that just kind of very loudly shoving it into place really helps. Excellent. Now let's go ahead and grab our frame. Set that down. And we'll set that in right just like that. There we go. So I want to make sure that everything's looking correct there. Excellent. So we'll be able to work on the jig for the next episode or so. Thankfully, it's not getting so big that I can't do that just yet. So let's go ahead and get out our... Do I even need that? I'm relying less on all of that these days. So just be careful and make sure we don't spill them everywhere. And of course, Jordan, you did not even open the package. Very good job. There are some nuts here, which are going to be part of the, you know what? I'm nervous about this. So I'm going to go ahead and just get our little cup out here. A little paint cup. That's what I like to put all my parts in. And we're also going to need to get out... Let me grab my screw box for the Falcon. And this is just what I'm using. It's a Harbor Freight little screw box. There's not many screws in this model, so I went ahead and just picked up a small one. Inside here, we have our LED. We have our two weapons. I haven't even assembled the second one here, but you got our two guns and all of our different screws. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some of our black button screws here. So I know that's what we're going to need. I'm not sure how many we're going to need, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab a bunch of them. Perfect. All right, get that set off to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and get my hull panel set off to the side as well into our little bag of treats here, so to say. All right, excellent. So let's go ahead and get on with stage 54. Lots of getting ready for it at the beginning of an episode. So we're going to go ahead and start with grabbing one of our black screws here. These are going to be our button screws. And we're going to go ahead and affix this one into place right up here at the very top. Screw and put in place. Get it kind of set down. This is kind of finicky with a little fiddly, I would say. Not even finicky, but fiddly. Now that it's in the assembly jig, but you're definitely going to need it here. This thing is starting to get a little unwieldy, so to say. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab another 2-hole connector and a screw, and we're going to put that right there. Excellent. A little bit off screen there. I have to get the screw kind of put into place. Sorry about that. Try to remember to keep that on screen for when I'm getting them ready. A little bit, like I said, it's a bit of a pain. So, there we go. Wow. It's always interesting getting going for this model during the week. Tend to build a couple stages during each week. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and get another 2-hole connector in right to the end there. And that's going to be at the end of TF18. Grab another screw. And what I'm going to do is simply just get the screw put into place using my hand. And I wish that there was a graceful way of saying that I know how to do this, but there really isn't. Then I'm going to grab the screw driver with my other hand, get in there, and getting it tightened up. You will develop your own way of doing this. There we go. As you go along, like it's definitely not a science. And sometimes you'll have better success than others. So, all right, I'm going to wait till the next frame goes into place. So now what I'm going to grab is TF19. And so in here, we have our 2 frame sections along with the radial rib section. I don't know if we're going to be doing anything with the radial rib. I did read ahead. I did remember seeing something about it, but I don't remember what it was. So I'm really good at this, guys. All right. So here's TF19. As you can see, the TF19 is stamped into the Zachem there, or die cast. And what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and fit it into place, just like that. You can grab 2 more black screws. And get that tightened into place. Lower one secured. There we go. Excellent. I kind of jumped ahead on the instructions, but I'm pretty sure that I was correct in my assumption there. That's correct. Now, what I need to do is grab another one of our 2-hole connectors and put it into place right here. Grab one of our button screws. There we go. Excellent. Then we're going to grab TF20, which is this one here, and we are going to put it in place just along here. And then where we have the 2 2-hole connectors, we're going to go ahead and secure them in place with 2 more black button screws. I'm kind of holding this in place. Let's see if I can do this gracefully. Very nice. Now I don't have to hold it in place. Excellent. I like when that works out. Doesn't always do that. So I'm going to kind of lift up on this. I did leave the other one loose because I wasn't sure of the positioning, and I'm glad I did. So now I'm just going to get it in place, tighten this first one down, then go back and tighten that one down. Excellent. So what you're seeing right here, by the way, is going to be the top half of the frame for when you lift off the top, and this is where the crew section is, the habitat section, which is pretty cool. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my radial rib, and with the 2-hole at the very top, we're going to go ahead and secure this one into place right there, and then 2 more down below. And I may have creepily grabbed just enough screws for this whole application, at least for the top portion of it. Maybe. I looked in there, I'm like, oh, there's not that many screws. There we go. And then the next one goes into place. And we'll lift up on this one. You get that one tightened down into place. And there we go. Make sure it's secured properly, positioned properly. And that's that portion of the frame all put together. This thing is starting to get a little big. Now, let's go ahead and move on to assembling the battery holder. And I realize I got to go find where I put the battery. I'll be right back. Okay, so I found that. It took a couple minutes. There's a lot of Fanhome boxes around here. So let's just go ahead and try to build this right over here in this tiny little section. Okay, so first things first, what it wants us to do. So that's not actually for this. This little foam piece is going to be for the middle of this, which is going to be the battery box cover. So let's go ahead and get that opened. And I'm going to take the peeling off the back. And then we're going to set this right directly in the middle. Just like that. Press it down, make sure it's put into place. Excellent. So now, what I need to do is hold the battery box. There's going to be 2 lugs right up here at the top. You want to hold that in place, just like this. And then, with that strap that we just created, we're going to want to hold it across the top, just like so. Now is a good time to talk about power. So, I've got a couple of different options for power. There is a battery bypass mod that will plug directly into this model, and I also have some dummy double A batteries that will provide the proper 5 volts. Plugs in via USB. So the question I have for the community is how should I approach the power mod? I can basically just put in the 4 dummy batteries into this existing box and then plug it in via USB and run that power line down through where the power would go for the power mod. Or should I pick up the proper power mod? I believe Chloe makes it over at Model Mods, if I'm not mistaken. So let me know. What should I do? But for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the stock battery box because we have time to figure that out. So now, what I need to do is turn the box over while holding the strap in place. What I need, taking a look at the instructions, funny that, I need to grab a couple of the smaller brass screws. We have those set aside here. Got a couple of them. We just need 2. Happen to grab just 2. Fantastic. All right, so for the battery box, what we're going to do is we're going to fit the strap right over the top. And you note that there's going to be an angle to the way that the strap is going to fit in place. So hold that over. Then what we're going to do is once that's all lined up and nice, we're going to go ahead and drop one of our nuts in place. And then while holding over your thumb over that, you're going to come over with a long brass screw, get it into its receptacle, and tighten down through the back of the nut. That took a bit of figuring out on my part. The instructions are cleared, but I wasn't. Alright, so once again, just holding my finger over the back to hold the nut in place, line that up, and tighten it down, and our battery box is put into place. Very good. Yep, it ain't going nowhere. Excellent news. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the frame, lift it up, turn it over, and go ahead and run our wires down and through and put that in place just like that. Then we're going to go ahead and in all of these holes, 4 more button head screws, and I was 1 short. Well, still, that's pretty impressive. So go ahead and probably set it down somewhat. And like I said, let me know. Let me know what you guys think, how I should handle the power for this model. Battery box and just a battery bypass, like dummy batteries basically is what they are. Or I should pick up the battery bypass mod. Let me know. I am personally not a big fan of that one, just because, let's just say it looks kind of like a toy with the little toy like Millennium Falcon, and I'm not sure I like that. So just let me know. I will go with what you guys think. Okay, so there is our battery box put into place, and that's what that looks like. And from the inside, and our first hull panel for the top of the model has been assembled. Very, very cool. So let's go ahead and set that down into place. And that completes stage 54, which actually took quite a bit of doing. So let's go ahead and move on to stage 55. All right, so here is stage 55. Let's go ahead and open the magazine real fast. Cool. Nubian ship design. Let's do one of these with the with the jig sitting up there. So there we go. Talking about sensors. And some talking about graphic development, which is pretty cool. Then talking about our next parts, it's going to let us know what we're going to need. I'm going to pay attention to that because I'm going to need to pull from my screw collection for it. And in this stage, we're really just going to finish up with assembling a couple of our frame sections. I will worry about putting the actuator braces on and the recesses, as you can see here. Later on in the build, I don't want to worry about, it might even be next episode, as we kind of get to the next phase of painting of the models. So we'll talk about that, like I said, at the very end. So what we're going to be doing very simply today is just adding a couple of frame sections. So let's go ahead and grab our stage itself. Let's go ahead and get it opened up. And I'm just ripping this bad boy open now. I'm tired of like making a bunch of noise. So here is our frame section, and if you notice, here is the base for our rectenna, which is pretty cool. We'll go ahead and set that off to the side. We have our frame sections, our braces for the top, and we'll talk about that in the next episode. I was thinking about that just as I was unpackaging, and that's what we'll do. We have some more black button screws. Trying to grab the silver package through the frame piece or the base piece. Some of our self-tapping screws, some brass screws, and a 4-hole and a 2-hole connector. Okay, that completes that. Let's go ahead and start with assembling the next portion of the jig, and it's going to come into place right here. So let's just go ahead and squeeze it in very loudly. Not so gracefully. There we go. And as always, just in case there is an issue, I'm going to write 55 on the top, just so I know which assembly jig this is. Excellent. All right, let's get everything positioned properly again and do its proper spots. There we go. Is that in there properly? Yes, it is. All right, excellent. So what we're going to do is, you know what? We're going to do this. We're just going to set that right there. I've been thinking I should probably get a music stand cover or something like that to hold the magazine on, because this is the only magazine that I actually have to reuse. Todd, if we didn't start at the same time. All right, so what we're going to do for this one starts out very simply. Let's get our frame sections exposed here and opened. Exposed. Why did I say it like that? That's gross. God. All right. So we're going to start with TF21. You can see that there's TF21 stamped in the Zachem there. And we are going to simply put it in place just right here. Just like so. Let's go ahead and get out some of our black button screws. Don't know how many we're going to need here, but we're just going to get them all out. Grab 2 for now. Tried to be graceful. But that didn't work. as is the story of my life. But for grace went he. All right. That one's nice and tightened down. Now, very simply, which is kind of crazy, like this is going to be a very simple stage. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab our 2-hole connector and then a 4-hole connector. There we go. And we're going to grab our 2-hole connector, and it is going to go right up here at the top. And then our 4-hole connector is going to go right down at the bottom. So grab 2 more screws. Get one put in place. There's really no graceful way of doing this. So if you have a better way of trying to approach this, please let me know. I'm curious. Just because it's a bit of a PIA. God. Especially once it's in the frame section, it's kind of like, or in the jig. Yeah, I'm going to reconsider. We'll see. There we go. And let's go ahead and grab another one of our button screws. Grab a corner of our 4-hole connector. Get that put in place. That was actually kind of graceful. Very nice. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab TF21 or 22, excuse me. And as you can see, it is stamped in the top right up there. And very simply, what we're going to do is we are going to hook it up into place right there with 2 black button screws. Grab one for now. Almost graceful. I tried today, guys. I tried to be graceful with one of these part placements, but that's just not happening. There we go. And one more black button screw. Get this one put into place. Excellent. Get that slotted back over. And there it is. Now, as a reminder, we are going to be finishing up stage 55 at the beginning of the next episode. So that's going to be fitting the actuator braces and putting the recesses in that we created a few months ago now at this point. So we'll be putting those into place after some painting is done. So let's go ahead and take a quick review real fast. Here's what we've gotten done today. We've actually gotten from basically here over assembled. Like I said, we are moving right along. We are not going to be wasting much time because we're going to have to be building the mandibles and getting the interior assembled here soon. So there's really, we're going to be making some pretty quick progress in this top portion of the model. So as of now, this model is now going to go into its U-Haul box as it has gotten quite large and ungainly, and we have reached the 50% mark of the top of our hull section. So that's kind of the end of stage 55. And so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing in the next episode, which is going to be an interesting take, one that's going to take me a little while to kind of pull off. All right. So here's my thought. We still, I was all gung-ho about getting this thing painted. And really, it was more for the sake of painting conditions, so to say. I was able to take it outside, paint it perfectly. Everything went down beautifully. So it was perfect. And then I went ahead and got, some of my whole panels painted individually, which really could have waited. That's stuff that I can do on my desk with my airbrush. And I really could have waited. But, that's the thing. It's also, conditions and what I didn't know about the model and so on and so forth. But basically, we're not going to be doing a whole lot of weathering of the kit until we finish the top portion of the model. And the mandibles, we're going to paint them the base color, the AS20, the insignia white. We're going to paint them all individually. But then when it comes to the whole panels getting painted, we'll approach that either on a stream or something like that. But then the weathering is going to be done as an entire piece. And so what that means is that once we get our um, base colors on, so all of the different hull panel colors on the bottom, which I believe is done now, we need to now do a mist coat. So that's what we're going to do in the next episode. What we're going to do next week is we're going to go ahead and do a mist coat on the model. We're going to go ahead and dull some of those edges that are making them a little dirtier, a little less crisp, a little less clean. And then we're going to start applying our decals. And then we're going to go ahead and complete stage 56, which sees us putting on our thrust actuator plates and what have you. It's going to be a lot of work. The mist coat's going to be very easy, but getting the decals on, however, just from my experience, it's taken me about 6-7 hours to put the same decals on the Perfect Grade Falcon from Bandai. So I can only imagine how long it's going to take for this. So I don't know if we're going to have an episode next week or if it's going to be the week after. But I need to get that portion of the build done before I move on, because I kind of want to stay in sequence. I don't want to be coming back while I'm in the mid 60s for stages and trying to complete stage 56. And so to complete stage 56, I need to get that mist coat on. I need to get a few more colors put on in place. And then I need to get my decals put on as well. So that's going to be kind of the plan for the next episode. However, if you guys have any ideas of like maybe something I should do different, I should maybe pause and wait and just kind of move on to the rest of it, which I'm willing also to do. So let me know down in the comments. Should I go ahead and continue on with the paint job, get through the decals and stage 56, or should I go ahead and move on to stage 57 and into the next pack? So let me know down below. Also, as well, let me know what you guys think about my thoughts about the power. Basically, once again, as a reminder, I would like to either do one of two things, either getting the power mod from Chloe, or getting or just using my dummy batteries. I have 4 AAA or AA dummy batteries, basically, that plug into USB, and just using that as my power source. So let me know down below. I'm super curious to know what you guys think. So otherwise, that's what I got for you today. I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me watching me build a model, and I think that's pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. Like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world wherever you happen to be. And just remember, my friends, that this is the way.